Guys are finally back in the championship series. It's been 19 years. I mean, that's staggering to think about all the great talent that's been here, and it's taken them 19 years to get back. But they are, and we should celebrate them. So, you know, that was toward the end of the era involving Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine, Javi Lopez, Chipper Jones, Andruw Jones. But this Braves team now is really something. Great offense. I'm also really intrigued to see what kind of attention they will receive in Atlanta. Atlanta, unlike a lot of other cities, Boston, New York, Chicago, great baseball cities, we've evolved so much over the last quarter of a century. There was a time when you'd go into a Publix or a Kroger and 75-year-olds were wearing those Braves t-shirts and hats. It became the uniform of everybody in public. We don't see a lot of Braves hats anymore. We don't see a lot of Braves t-shirts. What kind of interest will we see this time around? Will everybody get behind them now that they have an opportunity perhaps to win a World Series? I think that's one of the interesting stories to watch. I mean, there was a time here in the city when Elton John was a huge Braves fan, when Jane Fonda was doing something as politically incorrect as the tomahawk chop. I mean, it was a lot of craziness around here. Will we see craziness in the next couple of weeks? Probably not. But I don't think that lessens the interest once this team starts rolling and winning with an opportunity to win a world championship for the first time in 25 years. I think you'll see a lot of people catching that fever, getting that vibe, and pulling for the Braves.